Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xah Talk Show. We are going to do code emacs lisp today. So this is technical session for emacs lisp coders, or I'm gonna teach you. If you are watching this offline, play at 1.5 speed minimum. If you are watching live, say hi. Love to see your comments. Okay, so let's begin. So I'm gonna cover some of the things I've done. So let's begin. Okay, so for example, when you learn a programming language, it's good to know the top 100 most used functions. Okay, so here's an example. So I just updated so you can see if you are learning emacs lisp, these are the top 300 functions. You can go up to 100. So anyway, so this is like English, like when you learn a foreign language like French, German, Russian, Chinese, you want to know the top 1000 most frequently used words, because that's the things you want to learn first. Those are the priority. Hello KPXX, KPTXXZ. What does that mean? Hello hungry man. Announce, fantastic announce. Fucking announce. So you want to learn the most frequently used words. So here is a list of them. Okay, it's on my blog on xahlee.info, emacs. Okay, search for it, you will find it. So this is for emacs 30 updated. Emacs 30 is released this year. But how do you get this list? Okay, so here is the code. Okay, so here is emacs lisp code, so you can actually learn it. Okay, so let me just demo. Okay, so I already have the code here. Let's just copy. Okay, so copy, make a new buffer, paste it, save it, xx.el. Okay, let's just say that. Okay, and fantastic. This is 56 lines of code. Now let's just run it. Done. So you see, so here's the result. Number one. So now let's show the line numbers. Press. Fantastic. Now you can see the line numbers. Can you see it? Yes. Okay. So you can see this is the most frequently used functions. In fact, all of them, 5,400 of them. So that's a script. Okay. So you can study it. I won't go through it. Okay. So let's delete it. We don't care anymore. Delete it. So there it is. That. Okay. So that is demo emacs lisp script count function frequency and emacs 30's most frequently used functions. Set q, obviously, when you want to set a variable. If something, if statement, the foundation of a Turing complete programming language. That's the most essential. If. Define a function, let, declare variables, and so on. Okay, so that is that. So that's today's talk show. Let's search for frequency. So we talked about that. So cut, move, go to the top, and let's paste it there. And okay, so we talked about this. And in the past years, I've done for Emacs version 23, year 2020, and Emacs version 23. 23 is year 2010. That's when I began to it. In the beginning, I was using a Python script. So you can see, where is it? Okay, yeah. So here is the Python script, because back then I was more familiar with Python. So, I did with Python script. So anyway, so that's that. Okay, so let's go to the next topic. Next topic, let's see, hash table to list. Okay, so let me organize a little bit. So generic map functions, let's combine the list. Okay, combine. So all those are about hash tables. Okay, combine. Then, okay, so this section is about hash tables, but let me talk about this thing first. Okay, Now in Emacs, not this one. Okay, so actually, so let me get the link correctly so you can look at my Emacs blog. I've been busy working on it. Just search for it on xahlee.info, Xah Emacs blog. You'll find it. So you got a field region problems. Okay, not that one. Yeah, okay, this one. Okay, this article. So hold on a second. Let me check something. Let me close the door. Okay, so you see in Emacs Lisp you have this thing called field region, which is a very idiotic name. So what does it do? So for example, when you have a paragraph, so for example this paragraph, let's copy it, new buffer, paste it. On the pink window you can see all my command call names and the keystroke on the left. I'm using Xah keys and I'm using a Aurora keyboard layout. Okay, so for example, field region. So usually you have a, you type have a long paragraph, right, like this. So usually you want to, like in the old days, like 1990s, you want to truncate them like no more than 80 lines. So let's turn on ruler mode. Okay, so you can see how many number of characters. So so one line, so you can call a command field paragraph. Okay, do it. So you see it cuts each line no longer than 80 characters. So you see, undo, you see before it's like hundreds characters. Now you call it field paragraph, then it becomes multiple lines. Okay, that's an Emacs command. However, there's no way to go back. So if you begin with a let's say let's make them very short. Okay, so if you begin with multiple lines, there's no command to turn this back into one line. Okay, like that. I can do it because I'm using Xah keys and I have these Xah reformat lines. Okay, so this is starting in 1980s, because the Unix idiots, the Unix fuckheads, because back then their system, their programs cannot process long lines. And when does the convention of 80 characters per line came from? It came from punch cards. Okay, this is like Asian computing history. So in the 1960s, punch cards, okay, it looks like that. This is like before, I think even before digital computer era. So you got this card, and this is actually code, the programming code, and you got holes on it. This is the way, this is like a storage system, like your flash drive, whatever. So back then, this is what year? 1960s, 1890, okay, it's long ago, 100 years ago. So this 80 characters per line convention came from these punch cards, because convention and habit, every generation you change slightly, but so we trace it back, like who the fuckhead started to say that we need to like manually put a line return at every characters. That's the punch cards. Okay, but the idiocy persisted, especially because of the Unix fuckheads. Okay, I talked about this many times. So let me quickly show you. So let's quickly show. Let's go to search. Unix email protocol. For example, Unix has this email protocol. Okay, and in this protocol, RFC 8 something, not that one. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so actually you need to search for RFC. Unix RFC. RFC. Yeah, really fucking common. That's what it stands for. RFC, Unix RFC and Perl Email Library 2010. Unix RFC line truncation. That is the one. Okay. So I document it, the damage, the history that you don't usually read it. It's there, but they don't talk about it. Things like that. So where is it? Where is the article? Yeah, Unix IFC. So this is my previous, like 4 years ago, I talked about it. Okay, Unix IFC line truncation. So in Unix IFC 2822, that's for email. I believe that, yeah, for email protocol. They say every email sent line must be truncated no more than 80 characters, because the Unix idiotic operating system, they cannot process long lines. And even back then, even today, I think when you do PS command, they automatically truncate lines like silently. Okay, so very bad. So anyway, that's where this came from. So, and one of the emacs, so emacs has a feature called field paragraph. That automatically reformat it. Like field paragraph, right? So, but there's no way to go back to long line. And what they tell you is that you have to set queue. You have to set the field column to like 1 million, then call field paragraph again, because every time the command works by a variable called field column. Okay. Field column, there it is. Okay, so by default it's 70. Okay, so anyway, so how do you get back? So you basically set queue field column to, let's say, 1 million, then you call field paragraph again. So that's how you do it, but that's idiotic. So I have a command that just truncate it for you. Okay, so wait, what is my okay, so this font is really large. So you can see I call the command. So anyway, so that's the field paragraph idiocy. Now I have a question. So let's see. So I have lots of articles on that. So if you want to code, I have several versions. Reformat to long line unfield region. So you got unfield region and unfield paragraph. And you also got a command that just toggle. If the current line is very long, it just do field. If the current line is multiple lines, it just do unfield. Okay, and also you don't have to make a selection first, because this field region you have to make a selection first. So these are very convenient. But there is another problem. When you are in source code, such as emacs, lisp, or Golang, or C, or C++, or others, usually you don't want, you want to treat sequences of white spaces to be equivalent. So in other words, when you do field, you don't want the command to mysteriously add some characters or remove some characters. Okay, but unfortunately, that's the emacs field command does that. Okay, so I have a documentation of the fact. This is written like 10 years ago, but the article, I just made it independent article this year. So anyway, so it automatically adds white space when there was none. Okay, so what's the example? Note the extra white space in yeah, for example, you can see here it automatically add a white space before, and it also in a situation like that, it will remove asterisk. You see, when you have multiple lines, it will just remove it. So if this is programming code, you don't want that. Okay, because most programming language syntax, their white space is equivalent. So, but you cannot allow to add extra character, non-white space characters, things like that. So that's why. So this field command does not work well if you are working with a programming language. That's why you want to have a special command. So that's what my command do. Okay, so that command name is xah reformat lines. Okay, so let's see where is the code. So you can get the code on xahlee.info. Field region problems, field paragraph problems. You can get the code. Reformat lines for source code. Okay, it's just copy and put in your emacs in it, and you got it. And here is an explanation in detail what exactly this function, how it differs from the emacs field paragraph. Explains here. In this function, it treats all sequence of white spaces as equivalent, and it will never add extra non-white space characters or remove any sequence of white space. Okay, so that's the key. So hello from South Korea, JSG. Great to have you here, South Korea. Fantastic. Elusive destroyer. What? Okay, so let's go back. So we talked about field column, field region. Okay, so let me just grab the other code so that copy, cut, okay, and paste link list. Okay, so we talked about these field issues. Okay, cut it, move it to top. Fantastic. Now, next topic and last topic. Let's talk about map function, or maybe that's it for today because my wife is back. It's dinner time. Oh, there's a duplicate. So test hash table equality. Okay, so let's show all the duplicate. Okay, so delete that. Fantastic. Refresh. Fantastic. Now let's ask Grok, why is it called field? Okay, so let's demo. Today AI technology is amazing. So Grok, why is Emacs field region command called field? Okay, let's have a say. I think that's it for today. The other question, on the hash table, let's talk about it next time. Maybe. Wait, we only talked for 20 minutes. Okay, we got some more time. So right now, this is Grok 4, just came out last month. So in expert mode, so it takes like a minute or two for accuracy. Let's see what it says. AI is amazing today because here's what I recommend. Anytime if you are on Twitter talking to people, there are billions, millions and millions of people, like they talk about politics or coding or whatever, okay? Ignore them. Like every person, like whatever they are talking about, if you are interested in in that topic, ask Grok, okay? Ask Grok or other AI bots. Because the AI bots are like 1 billion times superior, more correct than whatever human animals are talking. Okay, so this is tremendous. This is like you have 100 professors around the clock for you. You can ask any questions of any field, like chemistry, I don't know much, physics, electronics, microelectronics, what is microwave, what's the radio frequency, how they are distributed, what's the governance, what laws, controls them, what's signal processing or mathematics, sine, cosine, trigonometry, topology, like any question or politics, okay? Like who is the president, who is the 10th president of USA, or what happens during the 10th presidency, like list the most important events, like anything, everything. So here's my recommendation. Like, whatever you see, even talking to your friends, like, of course, usually you talk to your friends, you want to just chat, right? Get to know the person, whatever. But whenever you want to actually know something, like such as on Twitter, like you have like millions of people talking about all sort of things, ask AI instead. Then you will know the truth. You'll know you will, you do it this as a habit, like a year. You will know. You will not be misled. Okay, you will know a lot. A lot better about everything. But of course, this does not mean you are just gonna be brainless. Okay, this is for people who really want to know. I am an example of such people. I really want to know, like, is this true? Before Grok, there is the Wikipedia evolution. You go to Wikipedia, then you spend an hour or half hour to read about math, engineering, or politics, or history, like history of China. Most Americans don't know nothing about it. They just know CCP. They don't know not a thing. And so China history, China's like 3,000 years recorded history. So you can ask, so you can ask all sort of things, but you have to. But this is not for someone who does not wish to know. Okay, one such example are college students, the college idiots. They got paid by their parents. You must go to school. And they just go to school and fuck around. They don't really care what's going on. Oh, there's homework. If I don't do it, I'm gonna fail. Oh, let's ask AI. So that's what they do. Okay, so that's a situation when the people they don't, the person actually not interested. When you do that, when you use AI in such a way, then it will rot your brain. After 5 years, you will become incapacitated. You become a retard. Like you don't know how to think anymore. Okay, that's the difference. Hello, Hank. Thank you so much, Hank. $5. Have you tried an embedded database like sqlite or hsqldb? Oh, that's a new one. I haven't heard of that. No, actually, I haven't tried embedded database. SQLite is fantastic. I can highly recommend it, especially because the SQLite person, I forgot who is the guy. He is anti-corruption. SQLite. Okay. He is very anti-corruption. He fought against the social justice warrior code of conduct fox. Okay, it's a great guy. And the technology is also great because it's an embedded database. It just make it like very condensed, so you don't have to be elaborate. Like typically SQL databases are very elaborate. So they have a section on code of conduct that's related to politics. Code of conduct is a crime. Okay. So anyway, the technology is fantastic, and the person, I believe he's a great guy. And he's a great coder because this SQLite is very popular. It's like one of the top most popular application for programmers. So I highly recommend it, but I myself never actually used it. Okay, so what is it? C language libraries. Okay. Do they still have like code of conduct stuff? They created their own code of conduct. So anyway, so I never had the experience. And database is usually boring, so I actually never got so much into. But I was the MySQL expert in the 2000s because I read their documentation, 1,000 pages, cover to cover, every word. MySQL, and I've been using it for like 6 years or something. But that was a while ago, 10 years ago. Does your wife have any programming knowledge? No, not at all. My wife is just a country woman. What do Xah think about Prolog? Prolog is a logical language that's very interesting. I looked into a little bit for like a week or two with some friends in China. They are telling me about it. Also, Emily, a great, I think she's the top programmer. She's the OB on Xah Discord. Okay, but she doesn't post often today. So Emily, she is I would say she's the top programmer of all Xah Discord history of the past 5 years. So she is now Prolog is her latest hot language. She recommended very much. I don't know much about it. Hank, if you are dishonest, you will be misled by chatbots. Yes. Dr. Richard Hip. Okay, that's a SQLite guy. Why did I read entire MySQL manual? 2 reasons. Okay, reading manual is my habit. I'm obsessive. It is one of my obsession. Read manuals because, long story, but I like to read. So not just read them. I read them from cover to cover, every single word, every punctuation. If there's a punctuation mistake, I must know. Okay, that was my mentality back in the 1980s and 1990s. And that's how I learned English too, by reading dictionaries. Anyway, so reading manuals is my habit. Okay, so it's my obsession in the past, not so much today, because it's actually kind of waste of time. So here's a tip. Okay, when you read a manual, your goal is not to read every word, find every spelling errors or grammatical errors and get every nuance of every sentence. That's not the goal. When you read a technical manual documentation, like programming language documentation, your goal is simply to understand it as fast as possible. So I would recommend also for reading books, nonfiction books. Okay, when you read, just your goal is to understand what it's saying, and you scan. Okay, when you see something not interesting, skip it. Scan, skip, go back and forth. Okay, that's your goal. You want to just understand what it's saying. That's the most important thing about reading books. Okay, not about I must start from the beginning. Like usually a book, like they have prologue, epilogue, introduction, preface, cover. There's a cover. There's technical jargons for a book. Like I know every one of them. Preface, prologue, epilogue, postscript, and there's another thing called that's like what's it called? That's like how is the book made? What font, what typesetting. What's that called? Someone mentioned it. And then preface, table of contents, table of figures, index, bibliography, and there's another word similar to index called I forgot. In fact, I was just using it in my emacs tutorial. So what's the word? So let's see. Glossary. That's right. So anyway, there's these jargons. How do I know? Because I'm obsessed about reading, knowing all these, back then. This is like 90s. So, and I must read every word, every preface, usually sometimes there are several preface, several introduction, or like, like usually another author introduces you or recommend the book. Sometimes there are few. So I must start from there. I must know everything. So that was my habit, and turns out that's not a good one. Okay, don't do that. So why am I reading MySQL? Because I was using it. So when I was using it, so in year 2000s, I was using Oracle database. So, but in year 2005, I think around 2005, I was working for a project for Hoover Institution over at Stanford University. I happened to work for them for a project. So to create a website, so I used MySQL. So I read the documentation. By the way, I think MySQL is one of the Unix scum shit. Anyway. Okay, I think that's it for today. So, is that right? So what are the other topics I have here? Field path, okay, map functions. Let's talk about that some other time. So yeah, so okay, let's go back to why is Emacs field region command called field? Let's see, the field region command in Emacs is named field. Excuse me. Too much cigarette. Because it reformats the text in a selected region by breaking it into lines that fit a specified width defined by the field column variable. That's correct. Effectively filling each line with words up to that margin while handling wrapping and optional justification. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, but how is that feeling? Oh, okay, so you have an empty line. Let's say you begin with the empty line, then you feel each word. It's a fucking idiotic perspective. This terminology originates from, so it originates from early computer text formatting programs. In the 1960s, okay, that's the payload, that's the reason. Emacs code field, that's not the reason. Well, actually, it's because it's a convention from 60s. So in the 1960s, they view it not as reformat, but they view it as like begin with the empty line, then you fill words, okay, such as runoff, one of the first search tools, where filling described the process of extracting words from input and assembling them into output lines of a predefined length. That's why. I see. The concept carried over to later systems like nroff, troff, Unix fax, with commands like .fi for field mode and influence editors like Emacs, which adopted similar language for text reformatting features. Okay, I learned something, and thank you, Grok. Thank you, AI. Amazing. I've been using Emacs for 30 years. I kind of had this question vaguely, never bothered to look up. And usually these kind of questions, I know if I search a web, usually you don't get answers. Then you have to dig like chat forums, then you gotta, dig, because this is like history from 1960s. But today, AI just answer it, in 1 minute. Fantastic, amazing. So this is an amazing demonstration of the value of AI. It's not just the value, they are changing humanity. They are like, in such a system, they are changing how we, and we are kind of too slow to understand, to catch up what's going on. They are changing our behavior, like incredibly. Typography, no, that's not the right word, okay. How do you toggle justification with field region? You can't, okay. That guy talked about, are you late? So you have to set the variable field column, okay. So you can call customize set, okay. Then save value, no. Okay, customize variable, okay. You call that command, Then you say you type field column, then you give it a different value. That's how you do it. Okay, then you call the field command, like field region, field paragraph. Then we'll use that width. Or alternatively, you just go to emacs lisp. Wait. You just type this and evaluate it. Okay, which is what I do. I don't use the custom thing. Have you tried to monitor? No, I never tried it. I believe I prefer one monitor, but I never tried two monitors. Xah lag behind on chat. What? Okay, I think that's it. Anything else? Okay, donate to me, okay? If you guys like my stuff, go to xahlee.info. xahlee.info. Go to it, and lots of stuff, and programming, like, how many pages are there? There are like 4,000, I think, 8,000 pages on this. 8,000 articles, okay, on programming, on mathematics. So go all the way down. Patreon me, Amazon gift card me, PayPal me, okay? Okay, I think that's it. Let's see. I think my microphone is set too loud, actually. It's hitting the red bar. I think that's it. So why is it called field? Let's copy it. So now paste it, linkify, make a list, and ask AI. Okay, so there is the answer. Fantastic. And the other things, I'll be next day, hash table. Okay, actually next Xah live stream, I think I'm gonna do Wolfram language. Okay, bye guys. That's my wife talking. She speaks Cantonese. What is the word that describe how a book is made? Like what kind of font, how typesetting, what machine is used? What's it's called. I forgot. Let's ask AI. What's the word in a book that talks about how the book was typeset or printed? Colophon. Oh yeah, colophon, that's right. Okay, so let's list these words we talked about. Colophon, preface, intro, table of contents, bibliography, index, glossary, epilogue. Sometimes there's prelogue. What else? And there is a blurb. Blurb is like a little, like usually marketing material at the front cover or back cover, usually at the back. And there is jacket. It's a funny book jargons. Let's see. I'm pretty sure There's a Wikipedia article on that. Let's see. Book jargons. It's the book of jargons. No, the ultimate guide to business jargons. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Glossary of book terms. Let's see. Advanced reading copy. No, advertisements or edges guild. Okay, appendix. Oh yeah, the appendix. Right. There's appendix, and there's inserts. Yeah. So so these are kind of topics. Appendix. Inserts is usually like in the middle. A new audio book, blah blah blah, biblioclast, bibliomaniac, bibliophile, what the fuck? No, that's not. Breakers, cloth, broadside breaker, a person who breaks up books so to sell the plates separately. Okay, this is more advanced. Conjugate leaf. Yeah, there's a leaf. Leaf. There's colophon, comp binding, conjugate leaf. What the fuck is that? The unsevered second half of a printed page. Corners. Okay. Bye.